Hello and welcome, and today we're going to cover the most basic form of automation, which is the email trigger. So I've made a form ready for this demo where I have a first name, a last name, an email address, and I've created a second email address on this document that says in the field name is customer email address. So what we're going to do is go to the connect option, and from here you can also send this information to a storage location or a webhook, but we're interested in the automation tab. So if I go to add, this is our kind of calibration card for setting up this email trigger. So the first thing is to give it a name. So call it email trigger. This name doesn't actually display in the email itself or anywhere. It will just be for your reference inside your array account. And then you can decide when you want the email to trigger. So is it when the response is completed, when it's updated, or both? So you might want an email to trigger when the initial form is completed, but you might want a different submission to go when it's updated somehow in array. So just bear that in mind. That's a useful kind of tip there. Now, the sender email by default is going to be using the array admin email. If you'd like that changed, please reach out to your representative or us on the live chat, and we can have it set up so that you can use your own custom email delivery domain. Then the sender name is something that just comes up. So I'll put my name, I'll just put Matt, for example. Then the next thing is you get to choose a theme. So these are a load of different themes that I've already got built in the theming section, but I'm just going to go for the standard array theme for now. In the email theme section, you can choose your own colors, your own buttons, and all sorts of things. Now, sometimes you might use a theme just to put your logo in. Other times you might just want this to just trigger an email, but we have some power in a minute to add data from the form into the email itself, or you could just be delivering the theme. And in the theme section, you can actually pre-attach documents to that as well. Then you can actually hard type somebody's email in here, or you could choose an email field from the form itself. So if you remember, I already had one for email address and custom email address. So in this example, I want to select the custom email address. Now you can select multiple, so I can go ahead and select the other one. So this, you can have multiple email addresses accepting and sending this email to. The next one is the subject line. So you could just type in, whatever you want as the subject line, but what's really cool is we can now actually look at the fields inside the form itself and select fields from that to use in our subject line. So hey, your email, Matt, or whoever, whatever they type into that email field, and it puts that element ID in there for you automatically. There's a little tick box there that says send to operator, and what that's for is that if you're using this in the applications and someone has access to the form, it will look at who that user is that submitted this form and send them an email copy. Then you can include multiple pages. Now by default it's going to just put this one page in, but you could have just send page 2, just send page 3. You can decide what pages you're sending. So think about that when you're structuring your form, because potentially you want to put a load of functions and things at the end of the form that consolidate everything for the customer or whatever the process is that you're doing, and then you can have just that sending out. Then lastly, you get to choose what formats of data you might like to attach to the email. This is not mandatory. You could absolutely avoid this, like I said, and just send that email theme on its own. But you can see you can have text that just takes the answers from the form and injects it in CSV file, Excel, XLSX, and PDF, images, and documents. So you can also, if you have a custom document set up on this as well, it gives you the option to attach that custom document. The document you're seeing in that file type there is actually like uploaded documents. If you had a media button that was uploading documents, it would upload those. But if you select PDF, it's going to just do a PDF output. But if you had custom PDF documents or custom Word documents you'd made in Array, they would also be available there to upload to the email address before it gets sent. Now bear in mind, email clients do have limits. So if the form is particularly big and particularly complex, some email clients may reject big attachments, but they have to be fairly big nowadays. Email clients are getting better. And then the last thing to point out is include a QR code. So what this allows you to do is actually build a QR code made up of data in the form, and it will actually generate a QR code for you and embed it inside the email. This can be a great way to validate this person has received, filled one of these forms in. You can scan a QR code using array form and validate the data they've collected. So that's a pretty cool functionality. We've been using that of late for kind of screening health checks for people as well. So that quickly concludes that. All that would be next to do would be to save all these changes, and then I have my email trigger set up. And then the last step is, are you happy that's just going to go every single submission, or is there some additional logic and conditional logic that needs to apply? If so, you just click this logic button here, and just using the logic builder that we have, you can decide when this sends. So in this example, we have very open fields. We could have had maybe check boxes or radio buttons, but you can set the conditional logic of when this email will send. So maybe only if customer email address is set, then send, or it could be if question equals Y, then send. And all of the normal conditional logic options are here to do that. So lots of power just in this basic email automation tool right here to sort of seamlessly create great workflows. But get stuck in, try some stuff out. Any questions, hit us up on the live chat and we'll be happy to help. Thank you.